Today, while studying African American contributions to South Carolina, we're going to be talking about the Stono Rebellion. This is sometimes referred to as Cato's Conspiracy or Cato's Rebellion as well. It occurred on September 9th, 1739, and it was led by an African slave named Jemmy, who likely lived on a plantation near the Ashley River. But the actual event, the Stono Rebellion, occurred on the Stono River, which is near modern-day James Island and Johns Island. So the revolt started when 20 black South Carolinians met near that river, and they showed up at a store and took guns and killed the two scorekeepers that they found there. A ranger who was writing about it actually wrote up this. He had this to say. They murdered two storekeepers, cut their heads off and set them on the stairs, robbed the stores of what they wanted, and went on killing what men, women, children they met, burning of houses and committing other outrages. So this goes on. These African slaves are going around and they're kind of pillaging and destroying. Cries of liberty and beating of drums grew louder, and more slaves came to that rallying call. They were supposedly heading south towards Spanish St. Augustine, and this was because in St. Augustine, Spain had offered them freedom and land, and they did this because it would weaken their rivals, the English. So the causes are all listed here. The biggest one is the population imbalance of blacks to whites, and this had been occurring because colonies had been growing, and more slaves kept on getting imported into the country. And although the assembly began to worry that there being too many slaves, it was so important to the economy, there was actually nothing they could really do. So the effects of this rebellion really kind of shook the colony. They passed the slave codes, or the black codes, which would control and monitor the slaves, and they really stepped up their efforts to patrol and watch them and do everything they could to keep them domesticated, domicile. And so these are some examples of the black codes, and that's what I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to leave you thinking, how do these black codes change slavery, and how do they limit the slaves' abilities to rebel or uprise in the future?